suffered loss of income or diminished income will be given a moratorium up to 6 months. This is very important. So it's the first olive branch that has been offered to customers, and that would take various combinations and permutations, as you can very well imagine. So that is on the cards. The point we want to underscore, however, is that people must assess their own financial circumstances and make a choice as to whether or not the extent of diminished income justifies wanting to have a moratorium. Not everything that is offered to people or carte blanche, everyone should take it up. Look at your own financial circumstance and make that choice. And I just want to make the further point that many of us would have suffered from Hurricane Ivan, which is only 16 years ago, right? Loss of assets and had to rebuild. Then some of us would have suffered from the financial crisis in 2008 to 2009-10 in terms of loss of wealth. So people, our generation, when you look at your life cycle, as we call it, are now experiencing another traumatic blow to income and possibly wealth as a result of this crisis. So people need to make very careful and calculated choices. And that's the message that I want to bring home to the listening public, but to underscore that the banks are here for you. And all banks have made a declaration. I've actually reached out to their customers already, either by telephone, email, or letter, inviting people to treat with the issue of the moratorium.
Mr. Duncan, for outlining that and laying the groundwork. I'm certain we will cut and dissect a little bit more. You mentioned 6 weeks, but let me move on to Mrs. Boyd. Mrs. Boyd, GUT Credit Union, and what are you saying to your members this evening?
Thank you, Odette. Like Mr. Duncan, I really want to touch on the staff before I speak to the members and what we are doing for them. We have also engaged in ensuring that the hygiene protocols are in place. And in fact, we went a step further in reallocating our staff to branches that are closer to them to ensure that we minimize the transportation time that they would take and to avoid generally them having to take public transportation in some cases. I really want to commend my staff. They are the real MVPs. This situation is a concern for all of us, and they have been steadfast. They have been committed to the task. They have gone above and beyond. Even today, some of the staff went out to replenish ATMs. So we are very happy that our staff have been working. We have been supporting them, and I want to commend them for the good job that they have been doing, despite the troubling times and the concerning times that we are living in, despite what we're seeing on the news every day from around the world. Our staff have really done an excellent job, also making sure that our members are taken care of. And at GUT, the members are the credit union. So whatever happens to the credit union happens to the members. Whatever happens to the members happens to the credit union. And during this time, we have decided as well to provide assistance for our members. So members who are experiencing a loss of income or a reduced income, we are offering a moratorium up to 6 months deferred payment as well. We are also offering other payment modification options because we believe that members must have options. And in many cases, one person's need is not the same as another person's need. So we have other options that members, if they wish, they can contact us and we can discuss with them as well in terms of those other payment modifications. We also have what we call a care policy, where additional access to funds during this emergency can be accessed. Of course, it's on a needs basis, and members can contact us to know more about that. But again, we have to be careful. We have to make sure that whatever options we are accessing, that it is for our benefit, and we are not just using the opportunity to get some money, because at the end of the day, whatever decisions we make now will affect us in the long run. But we are here for our members, and we have been dealing with our members even now during this state of emergency. We have been working remotely, and we have been taking queries by emails and so from our members and making certain adjustments for them. We have sent out information to them, specific information, via our electronic mediums, newsletters and letters, and so that have been directed to them, encouraging them to call us, make contact, let us know what's happening with them so that we can assist them wherever possible.
Very well said, very well said. And Mr. Williams, we're crossing to you right now. Tell us about Ariza Credit Union. How have your membership, how are you reaching out to your membership? But I'm certain you probably want to talk about the staff as well.
All right, thank you very much. And just adding to what the first two speakers would have said, Ariza's focus is really working towards the philosophy, the creationism philosophy of people helping people. This is a good opportunity for us to remember each other. And we have started with the staff, first of all, putting measures in place to ensure from the onset that we would have minimized the amount of persons coming in. So we started a rotation system. And eventually, working with that, we would have done, following the same protocol, distance, social distancing, put the facility on the outside to encourage our members to follow those protocols. We had the sanitization system in place at the branches all over the island. And then we move on to make sure that we put a system in place to have our workers picked up from their home and brought to work to avoid public transportation, all in the effort of ensuring that we minimize the chances of spread. Going towards the opportunities that we put in place to facilitate our members, remember we are always going to keep in the forefront the philosophy of people helping people. So we immediately took a decision to encourage our members and let them know that we have a moratorium for loans for 3 months in the first instance, with the depends on how things pan out as we move forward, with the possibility of extending that. We implemented initially and immediately a 1-month waiver for persons who may wish to adapt or request that facility. And we have a flexi credit system put in place where persons who want to get quick access to cash can contact the branches. You can do that through the technology. We have the Facebook facility and the website for Ariza. And most of all, I want the public to understand, and this is where we are encouraging our members to look out for each other. We in Ariza has a Provident Fund. It's a fund that was put in place some years, anticipating that our members might reach indigent situations where they may want some support. So we are asking our members out there to look around, look for your fellow members, persons who are in need. You can come together and make a request through the website or through emails. You can go to info@ariza.com and send us a message or get a phone call to one of our workers so we can make arrangement to assist those members who may be in critical need at this stage. So these are some of the measures Ariza has put in place so far.
Thank you very much. And so at the top of my head, if I can recount what has been said, the banks, I would need Mr. Duncan to clarify that, is offering, I captured 6 weeks, GUT said 6 months, and Ariza is saying that there is a there's a flexi system, and also you've got a Provident Fund. So Mr. Duncan, let's go back to 6 weeks. Would you like to expound on that a little more to ensure that it sinks in?
I may have uttered 6 weeks, but it is 6 months.
Okay, 6 months. So tell us, get into the nitty-gritty. So there's somebody who has a loan with the bank, and is thinking, let's just pick tourism because we know their heart is hit. All the hotels are empty. I'm without a job. I have a loan with the bank. What will happen?
Well, for the banks, it's a double whammy because the hotels owe the banks as well.
Ooh.
And the staff of the hotels owe the bank. So the situation is compounded. So basically, for the next 6 months, you as a hotel worker would be making a choice that you would not want to pay interest and principal on your loan, right? A moratorium means that it is deferred for a period of 6 months. So at the end of 6 months, there will be interest that would be running during the 6-month period. At the end of that, you then make a decision whether or not you are going to add the interest onto the loan, you want it as a separate loan, so there are options that people would have. And again, people have to sit and calculate their own circumstances. So for instance, if you were today planning to retire in 6 months' time, and when you retire, you do not want to have any loan, and there's 6 months to go on your loan. If you take a moratorium for 6 months, it means you push that loan beyond a retirement date, for example. And for some people, that is very tricky because at the end of 6 months, you might be on an NIS pension that is unable to finance that loan and still maintain a certain quality of life. So people have to be very careful. And that is the advice I think all banks would want to give to their customers, that these are options, but let us talk about your own circumstance so that we would help you make the best possible choice. In the meantime, all late payment fees and so forth have been waived because people might be coming in late, gotten paid late, or they pay not enough to cover the full loan and stuff like that, or the loan payment. We would be waiving or have waived all those automatic fees on the loans.
So, Mr. Duncan, if I could stay with you for another 30 or so seconds. I like to think you wear the hat of an economist, and you just made a very profound statement that you will face a double whammy because the hotels owe the banks and the employees owe the banks. So have you started crunching numbers and looking at the likely financial impact this will have on the financial sector in Grenada?
Well, I think each bank would have done their own assessment or will be in the process of doing their own assessment. So the answer is yes. Doing the assessment is one thing because that is what I might call a static analysis. You know how much they owe you, you know all those things. What we do not know is how soon the hotel industry will be back on its feet. And our estimation basically is that for the next months of the year, the cruise season is dead. There's no more cruise season for 2020. In terms of stayovers, that too, in my opinion, is done for 2020. If we are lucky for the winter season, which starts around October, November, the planes might begin to fly again, because right now half the airplanes in the world are grounded, and those that are flying with only 10% of the seats being occupied. So it's a dismal situation for tourism globally, and we are caught in that. So what the central bank has done is to say to commercial banks, listen, you can give a moratorium for up to 6 months, whether it's individuals or businesses. At the end of that 6 months, we will reassess the situation and there's a prospect for further extension. So that is the level of uncertainty that the central bankers are facing, as well as us as commercial banks, and at least all players in the economic system, really and truly. It's an uncertain future, an uncertain next 12 months for all of us.
And I would like to come back to that a little later, but I'm giving you something to chew on for the time being. It relates to something you just referenced. The Eastern Caribbean Central Bank has approved a reduction in the discount rate, which will make millions of dollars in the short-term credit available to Grenada and other member states of the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union. The discount rate refers to the interest rate the ECCB charges on loans to commercial banks. The Monetary Council agreed to reduce it from 6.5% to 2% for the first time since 2003. Mr. Duncan, I would like to come back a little later, but I want to go to Mrs. Boyd of the GUT Credit Union. Mrs. Boyd, have you been reaching out to small businesses as well? There has been a lot of discussion as to what will happen with the taxi drivers, the bus owners who owe the financial institutions sums of money and they're without an income right now.
Yes, Odette. Well, the credit union is made especially for those kinds of persons. The credit union is made for the ordinary man on the street, what some may call, the small man on the side, because that is the mandate of the credit union. And we have been reaching out to all of our members, especially those members involved in the service industry, because we know that they have been directly affected in the first instance. There may be, multiplier effects going forward, but we know that those persons in the service sector have been directly affected. As a matter of fact, many of them have reached out to us as well. We have contacted a lot of them on telephone, via email. Some have come in already. And already we are putting measures in place in how they can service their loans, have it deferred, or how we can help them with some additional funds to tie them over in the short and medium term. So we have been reaching out.
And Mr. Williams, if you care to comment on what Ariza is doing with regard to small businesses, especially people, the taxi owners, who, for instance, in the cruise sector. But I'm thinking, fast forward, the credit union has really surfaced in the last, in recent times as a force to be reckoned with in the financial services sector. And how do you think this is likely to impact the credit unions?
Well, one thing we all have to look for, as Mr. Duncan said, at this stage, no one knows how long this thing may pan out for. But as Ariza is always looking to put in its members' interests at heart, we have been discussing different maneras or different ways of making sure that our members continue to reach out to us, even at the time where we are at a lockdown now under the curfew. So different days have been given for the nation to reach out, to do shopping and so on. We are also putting systems in place to ensure that we are asking our members if they need any assistance or support at this stage, they can drop off at the different branches. There are places to drop off your requests. And when the opportunity is given to go out, we do send our member or workers to the offices, pick up those information, those requests, and try to process it at the back end. Also, we are encouraging people to use the facility of the internet as much as possible to make a request, because we know the service persons out there, the small businesses, they're going to continue to need our support. We are going to continue to work with them because we still have to show our members now at this time of crisis that we are going to put systems in place to ensure that each other help each other at this point.
Very encouraging news, and I would like to follow up on that, but we must take a commercial break. This is Beyond the Headlines. We're looking at the financial institutions' operations in this time of crisis and how they are reaching out to their members. We want to let you know that we'll be opening the phone lines very early tonight because people have burning questions and issues that they'd like to have addressed, and we would like to have you interact directly with the panelists, and so we'll be opening the phone lines very early this evening. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Stay with GBN.
Despite the situation we now face, one thing is for certain. We will get through this together. As much as we are a part of your community, you are a part of who we are. Let's take care of each other during this time, as we always do. And soon, we know that with the dawn of that new day, all of this will be over, and our land will once again be healed. In the meantime, stay safe. Know that we're here for you. Courts, bringing value home.
It's new, innovative and classy, and it cut above the rest. Your one-stop shop for bathtubs, kitchenette, customized doors and windows, and even a new paint job. We also sell quartz and solid surface countertops. At M&N Hardware, we offer best prices, excellent service, efficiency, and reliability. Visit us at Dusty Highway, Grandin, St. George, or call telephone number 440-6757. M&N Hardware, from foundation to roof. Let's build together.
At Communal, we are adapting to meet the changing needs of our shareholders and members. Times are changing, and with the changing times comes a whole new way to do business. Our parents may have done their banking a different way. Communal's state-of-the-art online banking and international debit card allows members to do business with great ease. It's like literally having a branch in your very own hands. Need a loan? Apply online from the comfort of your own home anywhere in the world, and your request will be dealt with remotely. Want to transfer between your accounts or another shareholder? No wait time for transactions to update. Voila! Who needs receipts when you can receive them via e-statements on your mobile device and save the environment? Not a Communal member? You can join our family today by applying online. At Communal, we see you working hard to ensure that you save, invest, and grow. Communal. Join us today. This will be the best financial decision you have ever made. My name is Hollis Mr. Killamap, and I endorse this message.
It's what's inside that counts. Inside your house, that is. With Beacon, you can ensure everything inside your home with our Easy Buy contents packages. Just click, match, and buy for maximum peace of mind with minimum fuss. Log on to beacon.co.tt and choose your package today.
Total is one of the world's largest oil companies with a top quality line of lubricants. Total Lubricants has a full product line from passenger cars, motorcycle, heavy industrial equipment, mining, trucking, agriculture, and manufacturing machines and vehicles. Total Lubricants, winning championships in motorsports, including Formula One and World Rally Championships. Total Lubricants are available at all Rubis service stations, leading automotive shops, and distributed by Huggins.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. And because of COVID-19, I just have to be in the studio by my lonesome self. Social distancing is the order of the day. But we have a powerful panel, and they're looking at the financial implications of this and also the solutions that are available to you. We have the president of the Grenada Bankers Association, Mr. Richard Duncan, Ms. Ratisha Boyd. She is the general manager of the GUT Credit Union. The T is already for teachers. And Mr. Javed Williams, he is the president of the board of directors of Horizon Credit Union. We had invited the Communal Cooperative Credit Union, and we were hoping that they would have been able to make it with us tonight, but unfortunately, they did not make it in. Hopefully we'll hear from them at some other time. So a reminder that this program is all about our listeners and our viewers. You have questions, you have burning issues you'd like to have addressed, you can start calling us, 440-1252. 440-1252. You can direct your questions to members of the panel. Mr. Duncan, I was asking you just before we went on the break about the announcement made by the ECCB. But first, I have a question that has come in via WhatsApp, and that's for the banker. Would they be following the lead of the central bank and also reducing their interest rates? After the dust has settled, businesses would need additional facilities to remain in business, as 6 months may not be sufficient to bounce back. Mr. Duncan, you could take that?
Yes, suffice it to say that each bank will look at its own risk profile and determine how it is going to chart the way forward in the future. So the association does not pollute as far as those things are concerned. banks make their own choices as far as interest rate margins are concerned. When we speak of the lead of the central bank, the lowering of the discount rate does not affect directly or immediately what happens to the costs that commercial banks pay for deposits. What the discount rate is the interest rate that commercial banks would have to pay to the central bank when you go to the central bank to borrow from the central bank. So by making a discount rate 2%, the central bank is into commercial banks. Should you need liquidity in these times, this is the price you would have to pay. And obviously there's a big distance between 6.5 and 2%. So that's the signal that they are sending. Lowering the rate also does not mean that they are making monies available to the governments either, because while the governments have to pay for the borrowing from the central bank, the amount they can actually borrow is based on the prior year revenue collection. There's a formula. So the interest rate that they would charge the governments if the governments come to them for money is one thing. How much they can get depends on the prior year revenue. There's a formula around that. So that's how I'll respond to the question, Odette, that to reiterate, banks are not in the habit of borrowing from the central bank and lend to customers. So the price that you would pay does not reflect in what you charge customers for loans when the discount rate is low. That is not how it works.
I still wanted to have that dissected a little more, but we already have a caller on the line. It is great to welcome our first caller of the evening. We'll have to ask the caller to call us back, because obviously we can hear the feedback in the background. And always remember, callers, that you must mute your device. It could be your cell phone, radio or television, or else we will not be able to entertain your call. We have a question on Facebook. If you would like to access the 6 months waiver, what is the procedure? Ms. Boyd, you want to take that one?
Well, from the credit union standpoint, we invite you to send an email to us making that request, and then we would walk you through the process. So if you are interested, you can send an email to loans@gutcu.com, and someone will contact you and walk you through that process.
Mr. Williams, would you like to outline what is the ERISA procedure?
Well, it's very similar to what Ms. Boyd would have said, because everything boils down to choice. Some people may request to use a facility, some may choose to use other means to support themselves in this time of crisis. But anyone needing assistance, you can send an email to us at info@erisa.com, and someone will get in touch with you and walk you through the process to ensure that your request is facilitated.
We have a caller on the line. Caller, good evening.
Good evening to you and your panel. I find that the banks are behaving very calm, but now if this virus prolongs for any period of time, there could be a run on the banks, and therefore you could have a financial collapse internationally. Think about that. Thank you very much.
Mr. Duncan, I see you smiling. That means you haven't answered the tip of your tongue.
No, Odette, the caller is quite right. I mean, crises like these, there has been a run on the supermarkets. There has been a run on toilet paper globally. People do funny things in times of stress, you see. I think that's what the caller is signaling. Suffice it to say, however, that the financial system in the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union, Grenada being no exception, is pretty robust and pretty strong. Very robust and very strong. And if you look at the statement from the central bank, their management of the crisis with the financial institutions is to ensure that resilience, stability of the system is maintained. So they are working, with the commercial banks. And I think there are some credit unions that are called systemically significant. I'm sure they are working with those as well to make sure that whatever mechanisms need to be put in place are in fact in place to ensure that the system remains resilient, strong, and stable.
Anybody else on the panel want to chime in on that?
Just one correction or an addition to what I would have said a while ago. The email address is info@arisacu.com. And to add, for the flexibility and the interest for the young persons, we have been operating a lot on Facebook, so they can always check the Arisa Facebook page to communicate on any necessary need at this time.
Or just let me chime in here as well. Just to echo something Mr. Duncan said, these are unprecedented times. I don't think anybody in their wildest dreams would have thought that we would have been in this situation. And when you're in a crisis, people are fearful. And when people are fearful, they may do things that are unpredictable. So you may see, different runs at different times, but I think all of the institutions are sufficiently sound and looking at the best practices that we have in place in terms of ensuring that our members' assets are protected. Also, if our members may not be able to access email loans and so forth, you can also check our Facebook page, but you can also send your contact information to marketing@gutcu.com, because we send out to our members periodically information via text messaging, via newsletter as well. So if you want the latest information as to what your credit union is doing, you can send your contact information to marketing@gutcu.com.
Great. So I believe we have a caller, but Ms. Smith, let me just ask you to, it happens to me all the time. The headphone is rubbing against your clothes, so just look out for that. We have 3 questions on Facebook. I would read the questions, take a call so that you can think about the issues being raised here, and we'll take the call. So one person on Facebook is asking, I know people are thinking complete waiver, including customers. This will hurt. Will those who have lost jobs be back on their feet, ? And the second part is, those who still have their jobs, will outside obligations like medicals, smaller loan payments to other institutions, and also pop-up urgencies allow these customers to honor their deferred debts? Let's see the second part. It feels a little convoluted to me, probably because I don't have a banking head. Those who still have their jobs, will outside obligations like medicals, smaller loan payments to other institutions, and also pop-up urgencies allow these customers to honor their deferred debts? We also have 2 other questions, but let's take the caller on the line and we'll get back to this. Caller, good evening.
Good evening. Good evening to your panelists. Specific to Arisa, can you please tell me what is the processing time for after you have submitted your application for, let's say, a month waiver? Can you please tell me what is the processing time?
At this stage, with the country being specifically on lockdown, I don't want to give a specific time frame. But as I said earlier, we are following the guidelines set forward by the Commission. So once this opportunity is given to move, as of today was a shopping day. So our workers would have gone in, picked up those drop-off information, or checked the website, and would have processed what was there to be processed. So if the person would have dropped it over Friday, over the weekend, at least they would have got it processed today. Prior to the full lockdown, as fast as information came in, because we were processed over 100 and something within 2 days prior to the lockdown. So once an opportunity is given for our workers to go in and do the back end of the work, they would collect all the emails sent via info@arizacu.com or the Facebook page, and it will be processed as soon as can.
And thank you. We will go back to the Facebook question, but we understand we have a caller who's on a cell phone, and we know that charges are being incurred. Caller, good evening.
Good afternoon, Ms. Campbell, and to the panel. The question I want to ask is the provision that is made also for persons who has loans at the development bank. I'm a bus owner, and as you see what the situation is now, I cannot pay my note. So I'm asking if that provision is applied also to the development bank, seeing that the development bank is not under the ECG or something like that. Could you give me some clarity on that? Thank you.
I noticed on the feed we have a particular viewer, and I'm hoping that that particular viewer could probably type a few words on that so that I can pass the information on to the caller. But Mr. Duncan, do you happen to look into that crystal ball and have any idea as to what GDB is doing?
Yes, Odette, it stands to reason. And I think one of the panelists said it earlier. A financial institution is as successful as its customers are. A financial institution cannot do better than the economy does. So, no financial institution now would want to foreclose on a bus because someone cannot pay. What are they going to do with us?
All right. Can we attempt to answer that Facebook question? Those who still have their jobs with outside obligations like medical, smaller payments, and pop-up casualties allow them to have to honor deferred debt.
Right. So the two questions and the concern of the bus driver would help to inform my response. During this crisis, if people don't handle it properly, psychologically and emotionally, there will be a lot of health issues. Emotional health issues, psychological health issues to be dealt with. So people just need to relax and don't worry too much. So my understanding of the question is this, that you have your regular bills to pay, but a health emergency arises. Would you be able to get a facility to help you with that? And would that facility be structured in such a way to allow you to pay it with your reduced income that you have? And the answer is yes. The entire system has to be recalibrated. And that is why the central bank is saying 6 months in the first instance. The future is uncertain. No one financial institution would want to take the position that now is the time to collect my pound of flesh. There's no flesh to collect.
Okay.
So let us relax, don't panic, keep the bus in good condition. When the time comes and the economy picks back up, the development bank will be able to work with you, give you a new payment schedule that would allow you to continue living a comfortable life as you did before. It will take a while, yes, but that has to be the outlook and the orientation. Whether I take 2 years or 3 years, we all felt hopeless the morning after I went. 16 years on, I think we all are, for the most part, back on our feet. So this too shall be resolved, but it will take skillful work on the part of the government, the economic analysts and thinkers, the banks, the credit union, and of course, our chief regulator, the ECCB.
And we have a question on Facebook. For employees who are working from home, will they have access to their salaries?
Again, the answer is yes. Once your employer pays you, your salary will be available at the financial institution to which it has always gone. So I will tell you the example of today. One bank processed one of their fortnightly payrolls, and nobody had to come to the bank or go to the bank to do that. Right? That bank processed a big employer, I think it was on Thursday or Friday last, and nobody has to go to the bank. So the banks are being run remotely as we speak, right? And wire transfers, payrolls, all those things are being done from people's home through secure networks into the systems of the 4 commercial banks.
One person
What we want to encourage people to do is to use more and more of the online banking services that are available at all the commercial banks and I believe all the major credit unions. In that way, you would not have to be distressed. So utility bills, for example, you can pay those online. Yes, the utility companies might not be holding you down for payment now, but if you can pay and you want to pay, you should be able to go online with your financial institution and make the payment to that utility company. So this is the message that we want to get out to people during this period of lockdown. How you can continue getting your business without leaving your home.
And Mr. Williams, you would have highlighted the fact that people can drop off information at strategic locations identified by the credit union. Somebody's asking if there's any word yet on when the credit unions will be opened to persons who want to withdraw money because they do not have an ATM card.
Okay, Odette, there are a couple of things I want to add based on that question. Remember, I mentioned that they can drop off at the different branches, and also they can make the request by the technology. I just want to add that there is a dedicated team also who is working from home to facilitate the request online. So we know we are trying to balance the situation for all the type of members that we have. Some people are technologically savvy, others are not. So those persons who are good with the devices, they can make the request online, and it will be processed as fast as possible. Okay? So, members, we want to urge you, the Ariza Credit Union, and as most of the other financial institutions, are trying their best to make sure that service is given as best as can within the situation. So, to add to Mr. Duncan, remain calm. Make your request, and it will be facilitated as quick as possible because different persons may have different requests.
And Mrs. Boyd, there's a question here. Would you advise someone to do a refinance of their loans at this time?
Well, it depends on what is the purpose for the refinancing. So we would have to have a sit-down conversation as to what their needs are and why they need to refinance before we can give them the advice as to whether they should do a refinance now or not. As it stands now, the economy is really at a standstill. And what most people are requesting are withdrawals, cash withdrawals, to sustain their everyday living. So if they want to do a refinance, we would really have to have a discussion as to what are their needs and what they would like that refinance for before we can make a decision on that.
Okay, and I believe we have a call on the line. Caller, good evening and thanks for your patience.
Hi, good evening. That's okay. My question is directed to Mr. Williams. I had my volume down, so I didn't really hear his comment on the applications that was sent in, because I sent in an application on May 27th and I haven't gotten a response or I've sent other emails and no response whatsoever. So I want to know how soon can I hear something back from them, or if it's a matter of I have to reapply because I didn't put through my request through the info website that he said. I sent it to a loans officer who said that it was a matter of approval. but I have not gotten back a response. So I just want to know what's happening and what's my next step, because, as you know, money is running low at certain points. So the waiver was supposed to, buffer everybody if you needed it.
Mr. Williams, you're up.
Okay, caller, thanks for the question, and let me apologize for the delay. You said May, but that should be March 27, I suppose. But between March, if it's March 27 and now, that's a little bit a long wait based on the standard that we always try to portray. So I would suggest to you that you resend, because workers are working via the technology. They're using the laptop at home, they're using their smart devices, the handsets on the go to make sure we can facilitate our members as much as possible. So I suggest that maybe you resend the information, and I hope that you can get a response soonest.
We have another question here. What are the plans in place for persons with student loans or those who are abroad studying and requiring stipends from Grenada? Anybody want to take that one?
Well, I could take this one. The way most of these loans operate with the stipend, what parents do is to give students an international debit card, which works at thousands of ATMs on all countries in the world, as well as at point-of-sale machines and so forth. And they would top up that card from time to time so that the student has access to funds. So if any parent wants to move monies from one account to the next to top up that particular student card, as it were, that can be done online. It can also be accommodated if you send us an email with the instructions. We will call you back to confirm the legitimacy of the email, and we will execute your instructions. So there are no issues really during this lockdown period as far as the electronic channels are concerned in the banking system to do things like that. In fact, even if you want to wire the funds out to the student, that too is being facilitated by all the banks as we speak. I think I made the point earlier that working from home remotely through secure channels, all the banks are facilitating those electronic type transactions.
And having said that, Mr. Duncan, there is a question on the Facebook page. I hear a lot about technology, which is in keeping with the times. However, what are the financial institutions doing for older heads to hold their hands during these trying times, and particularly the credit union? So, Mr. Duncan, I hear you about technology, but the question here is directly particularly to the credit unions. Ms. Smith, you want to take that? The older heads.
Well, during this time, Odette, as you know, we're on lockdown. So we really only have a specific mode of communication that we can use. And I know some of our senior citizens may not be au fait with that mode of communication. However, we do have telephone numbers that persons can call if they wish to reach out. And I can share those telephone numbers with you, Odette, later. And you can also, so persons will be able to use those cell numbers to contact our staff who is working remotely.
And we have a caller on the line. Caller, good evening and welcome.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Duncan. I'd like to direct a question. The crisis we are right now, it's pressing, but you know that we must rise above it, can't remain in the same situation. But when, to say things get back to a little normalcy, would your institution be providing, let's say, financial advice to small investors, because some sort of liquidation might have to take place in certain sectors? And I don't want to say that the bank would be making decisions for investors, but in order to carry through, to make solid decisions, because we must rise above these times. And the second question is I just wanted to know, how do you feel about this situation for all the years being in the banking sector, your career, how does this, how does this affect you as a banker? Because I know you've never been through this before. Even Ivan wasn't this bad. So we don't want customers to panic, but at least give us some feelings, feedback on how you view this situation. Thank you.
Okay, so that's a personal question. Yes. First of all, I take my confidence based on the skill and training that I have, and also the guidance and protection that I ask the Lord for on a daily basis. For the job that I do, I have the support of some of Grenada's finest men and women in the banking industry at Corp. And up to this morning, the executive team met by GoToMeeting in cyberspace to strategize and craft, a number of approaches and so on, the key issues that are facing us. So we have a very, in my view, commendable team, robust structures and systems, and the way we govern the bank and so forth. So that gives me great confidence that this storm will be triumphantly written out by our bank. And though my career is coming to a close, it gives me the confidence that this is just one more challenge in life, and in my career, that I will be able to overcome with the support of the team that we have at the bank. I'm very confident about it. That is not, a worry for me at all. It calls for great skill, it's called for great care, for great attention, and properly analyzing and reading the situation. I'm confident about that. So that will be my response to the caller. In terms of going forward, I heard the first question to be a matter of will the banks be given advice to investors or investment? Was that a question? It was not very clear. If it were, just let me say that yes, I think that going forward and during the crisis, people have to be properly counseled and advised to make the right choices and the choices that are good for them. Especially, I made the point that some of us my age would have gone through Ivan and the financial crisis, would have suffered temporary loss of income, of assets, of wealth, and therefore in the next 3 to 5 years of our working career, we are having to ride out and recover from this crisis. It requires for certain consideration and contemplation as we approach it. And the bank does have a brokerage and investment arm where we try to encourage people to balance their investment portfolios in terms of what you buy and hold over time as you mature in your career and as you move from different stages in your earning cycle and your career development into retirement. So that kind of advice and so on obviously will be forthcoming. But the underlying point I want to make again, folks, is that you have strong financial institutions in Grenada. You have a very well-staffed and on-the-ball regulator in the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. And the Grenada economic model, though it has its flaws, has been working quite well up until the COVID crisis. So once we ride this crisis through successfully and make the right choices, I am very, very confident that at the other side of the equation, Grenada will rise again.
Mr. Duncan, just before we toss that commercial break, one person has asked that you clarify. When Mr. Duncan speaks, does he speak on behalf of Corp Bank or banks in general? Just so that we hear it out of the horse's mouth. Can you clarify?
No. I've made it very clear that I'm representing the Grenada Bankers Association, so I speak of banks plural. I give examples without calling banks names and references. And when it came to the personal question that was raised about me and my career and how I feel, I did qualify by saying this is a personal question, answer accordingly. Yes, I'm here on behalf of the Bank Association.
Thanks for clarifying.
Let me make the point, though, that before you go along, since the break of the crisis, apart from issuing our press release, the association has been meeting at noon by teleconference almost on a daily basis, comparing notes, analyzing the situation, and strategizing. So that's why I'm able to speak the way I do on behalf of the association.
Very well.
Please add to the question of the availability of training to members. The question that came into Mr. Duncan just a minute ago.
Javon, can I ask us? Can I beg that we tossed a commercial break? We should have taken the break at 9:30. So you'll be up first when we come back. Promise. This is Beyond the Headlines. We take a commercial break. We'll be back.
Despite the situation we now face, one thing is for certain. We will get through this together. As much as we are a part of your community, you are a part of who we are. Let's take care of each other during this time, as we always do. And soon, we know that with the dawn of that new day, all of this will be over, and our land will once again be healed. In the meantime, stay safe. Know that we're here for you. Courts, bringing value home.
This is your Grenlec, and our story is one of change and development. We strive to ensure that you have the reliable service you depend on every day, at home, at work, and at play. We understand the importance of electricity in propelling our economy and affording our customers an enhanced, convenient, and comfortable life. Our performance indicators show that Grenlec is one of the best utilities in the Caribbean, but our mission is far from accomplished. We now strive to exceed your expectations. This is our Grenlec, and we are proud to serve you.
Total is one of the world's largest oil companies with a top quality line of lubricants. Total Lubricants has a full product line from passenger cars, motorcycle, heavy industrial equipment, mining, trucking, agriculture, and manufacturing machines and vehicles. Total Lubricants, winning championships in motorsports, including Formula One and World Rally Championships. Total Lubricants are available at all Rubis service stations, leading automotive shops, and distributed by Huggins.
How going on, boy?
Hey, good old things.
Hey, easy.
Yeah.
Boy, in line, boy. Your house looking a real good day.
Boy, it's thanks to the hard-working and professional staff at the Housing Authority of Grenada. They handled me real nice. They did my plan, they did the construction, and I didn't even have to worry about a thing. They were there with me every step of the way, supervising the job, asking me about my concerns, giving me feedback as the house took shape. They were there from start to finish, and even put the keys in the palm of my hand. I give them an A++ for customer service.
Oh, it's people from housing bad, boy.
Boy, not bad. Excellent. If you're thinking about constructing your home, why not consult the Housing Authority of Grenada? You could visit them right down in the Sandino complex, or give them a call, 440-1015 or 440-1016. Or check out their website, hag473.com. They go handle you. They go jog your blocks, they go draw your plan, they go tote your materials. Hey man, where you going? The Housing Authority of Grenada is your choice for affordable housing and a stress-free construction experience.
Despite the situation we now face, one thing is for certain. We will get through this together. As much as we are a part of your community, you are a part of who we are. Let's take care of each other during this time, as we always do. And soon, we know that with the dawn of that new day, all of this will be over, and our land will once again be healed. In the meantime, stay safe. Know that we're here for you. Courts, bringing value home.
Washing cleaner than ever. Oh mama, oi, oh mama, oi. In every household, must have it, oi. Highly effective, stain removal, lemon freshness, antibacterial washing powder. Fresh and clean. When I put on me clothes, me must win. When just like this.
Now buy 3 bottles of Clay's dishwashing liquid for only $8. Available at Best for Less Supermarket, Eat Fresh Supermarket, MNC Joe's Supermarket, Hope Pride Supermarket, The Food Fairs, Carenage and Grandad's, Roberts Enterprise, Springs Food Mart, and Charlo's Supermarket.
Other Clay's products available: hand sanitizer, fabric softener, hand washing liquid, dishwashing liquid, and toilet cleaners. Distributed by Fortune Foods Company Limited, Tempe St. George.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. Usually at this time, we would have panelists in studio, and sometimes we are joined by people via Skype or Zoom. However, because of the phase that we're in, we have to observe social distancing. So now I'm here in the studio by my lonesome self, but I'm so glad that we have facilitators to ensure that you get the required information. And we have 3 officials from the financial services sector with us tonight, joining us using technology. We have the president of the Grenada Bankers Association, Mr. Richard Duncan, Mr. Javon Williams of Ariza Credit Union, and Mrs. Ratisha Smith-Boyd of the Grenada Union of Teachers Credit Union. We had invited Communal Cooperative Credit Union to join us as well, but unfortunately they were unable to make it with us this evening. And we have the questions coming fast and furious, and we're running out of time already. Someone on WhatsApp is asking, Mom asked one more question. She said, when you're paying mortgage, there's a special savings that you have, but okay, I'm stopping here because I just remember, Mr. Williams, you wanted to say something. I'm stopping myself. Mr. Williams, I am sorry. I'm coming right back to you.
No, I just wanted to add to the caller that, or for the caller that asked about the trainings. From the Ariza end, we have started, as part of our strategy plan for this year, to do a financial training for our members. We have 2 trainings so far, one in Grenada, one in Caracas. And this training will be continuing. So just that we'll have to shift the focus a little bit to encourage our members, based on the situation at hand now, why it is necessary to be financial prudent. I just wanted to add that to Mr. Duncan's response.
Thank you very much. And now I will go back into the question. And Ms. Smith-Boyd, I think this might be for you. Mom asked one more question. She said, when you're paying mortgage, there's a special savings that you have, but you cannot touch it until you're finished making your payments. Seeing with the situation that is going on now, would they allow you to at least take out some to help yourself?
Okay, the actual savings is called a regular savings, but I know what she's talking about. The credit union model is to make sure that you are better off at the end. So it is a savings and loan. So as you pay your loan, you save. So at the end of the term of the loan, you would have a balloon savings that is yours, because we want to make sure that our members are better off, that their welfare is improved. Now, during this crisis, we have a number of options to assist the members. So we have looked at that regular savings, and on a needs basis, case by case, we can accommodate members to have access to a portion of it. But you have to contact us, and we would look at your situation and come up with something that is best for you.
What can I add to that, please?
Go right ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, on the Ariza end, that saving may be called the lifetime saving. It's more or less used along with other types of saving to secure a loan. So persons may want to request at this stage to withdraw from that saving. It is possible, similar to what Ms. Boyd said, but on a case-by-case basis. So if there are persons who really in need and may need to take something small from that, please make the necessary communication, as we alluded to earlier, to our Ariza Credit Union, so we can facilitate you.
Switch in between WhatsApp and Facebook. The questions are coming fast and furious. But we also have a caller on the line. Caller.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, please go ahead.
I want to speak to the Ariza, Mr. Williams.
He's hearing you.
Yeah, I want to find something. I recently got a vehicle loan on the 19th of last month. And I want to know what I have to do, because I guess the crisis don't want me to say hopefully by 3 months. So I don't know if I have to pay the interest for the 3 months, because I have some extra money on my life savings. So if I could, I want to know what procedure I have to go through for it to do.
Okay, caller. What I suggest that you do, because everyone may have a different request, you can send your information via the Facebook page or use info@arizacu.com. Make your request, because the moratorium is there for 3 months in the first instance, and the moratorium is a pause on payments of both loan and interest for 3 months. And your financial officer will explain to you what happens thereafter. But if you want to do something now to continue with your interest, just contact anyone on the Facebook page or the info@ariza.cu, and they will facilitate your request.
Any outstanding issues? Yeah, I think we have a WhatsApp question. And the WhatsApp question is, let's suppose that the economy is up and running within the next 6 months. What do you think would be the percentage loss to the financial institutions? Everybody's quiet. Mr. Duncan, I pick you.
But no, you see, the thing is funny, right? Really and truly, the financial institutions would not be losing during the moratorium, technically speaking, because the rules allow the interest to continue running on your loan. It's just that you're not paying it. And as that interest runs on each loan, the financial institution takes that interest into income. At the end of the day, end of the 6 months, the financial institution will say to you, interest for the last 6 months has amounted to $6,500. Now that you are working and you are doing well, tell me how you intend to pay me back the $6,000 that you did not pay. Right? And then you work out a plan either to capitalize the interest on your loan or to pay it back as a separate loan. And most institutions would say as a separate loan, it might be 0 interest, for example, or they might charge you a small interest on it. I don't know what people would do at the credit union or what each bank would choose to do. So that's how I'll answer the question, that once you recalibrate the system in that way. Now, losses will come into play if, when the economy is up and running, many of your customers find themselves out of a job. That's when you begin to worry about foreclosure, sale of assets to recover depositors' funds, because that is what it is. The loans that we are deferring and not collecting on are monies in the hands of people that really and truly belong to depositors, not to the banks or to the credit unions. The depositors' funds would have to be recovered under those circumstances. But the whole idea behind the moratorium, as granted by the central bank and has been executed by the member banks of the Grenada Bankers Association, is to defer, to freeze the actual collection of the interest or getting the principal back. But at the end of the period, you still owe the principal balance and you owe the interest that would have accrued. People who can afford to pay the interest now should pay the interest and just leave the principal alone until your cash flow improves. And that is why I think the point is being made. Let us look at your circumstance, assess it, and help you choose the option or the model that is best for you.
I believe that would answer the question being asked by Rondell Andrew. I'm trying to find out if I have a loan with the GDB, a bus loan, so does that mean that I'm excused from payment for a month or two? But does that mean I have to pay the interest rates for these 2 months? Mr. Duncan, you think that kind of answers it?
So in the end, yes, you would have to see, and I think people should stop worrying what will happen in the next month or two, right? I think the central bank has made it clear. The commercial banks have written to their customers or telephoned their customers. The moratorium is here for you once you were in good standing prior to this issue of the crisis. Just send and confirm that you would want it. Tell us whether you want both principal and interest or just interest alone, as the case may be. So people just need to engage by the electronic means, the bank or the relationship managers, and work out the choice that they wish to make. Having mulled over it and decided, just confirm by way of email or signed letter, scan it, email it back in, and people would proceed from there. But the long and short is that people should not, over the next couple weeks or days in lockdown, be worrying, boy, what will happen to my bus and what will happen to my car in the next 3 or 6 months. That's not something that you should put additionally on your mind, on your psychological strain. That should not happen. It will be granted onto you once you were in good standing before the crisis.
And we know tossed a caller on the line. Caller, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Ms. Campbell, and to the trip planning. Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
The true panel, especially to Mr. William. Mr. William, a question was asked already to the Ms. Bard. Now, I'm an elderly of your institution, but I don't have connection with the online. Is there a number that will give to us so we could call somebody to put in, because we are in this situation now, somebody that could call that if you get a little help from the institution?
Okay, caller, you can take this number down and you can call, and this person will guide you through the processes. 534-6734. Ask for Mr. Francis, who is one of our marketing officer, and he will guide you through the process.
So, Mr. Williams, you want to say that slowly, because I kind of struggled to I was trying to write it down.
6734.
534.
534-6734.
6734. And
ask for Mr. Francis.
Mr. Francis. We have a question on Facebook. What is preventing our banks and financial institutions from having most services fully digital? For instance, my American friends can deposit a check by simply scanning it on their mobile phones and uploading it online. Are we working on upgrades that will give customers more convenience and also keep monies flowing in similar crises?
Well, the answer is yes. The region is even going beyond that, in that we will be the first region to have a digital currency under the regulation of a central bank. That is a project that is well advanced. So we will be bypassing the scanning of checks and digitizing checks and going into the digital EC dollar.
And while some of the younger people are pushing for technology, it has been acknowledged by one of our viewers. Mr. Klein is asking, can someone expound on the use of technology where their finances is concerned? We are now faced with, in most cases, the talked about option at this time to use technology. How can you help those persons that may have that phobia? Mrs. Boyd, would you like to take that one here?
Thank you, Odette. For some people, technology is very accommodating. It's easy to learn. They relax with the technology. And for others, anything new or change may be seen as difficult and there's a barrier to that technology. I think what we can do as financial institutions is have some training sessions for our members to help them really to understand how to use the technology. And it could be simple things. So for example, when we introduced the debit card, there were quite a few members who did not see the need for it, did not embrace it, and was not sure about what they should do, if they should use it, and how they should use it. And what we would have done is was a campaign of an educational campaign around the product, the reasons for it, the benefits of it, help them understand its usefulness. Because if persons don't understand why something should be used and how it can benefit me per se, they're not going to accept it. And then, secondly, we would have assisted our members in showing them how to use it safely. Even some of our staff would have done one-on-one sessions with members to help them to use their debit card. So I think it has to be a personal thing, because sometimes you may put out, grand ads about how to use certain things, but it doesn't resonate with persons. And from a credit union perspective, we are dealing with people, right? We are not dealing with account numbers, but we are dealing with people. So we really need to make the technology personable. We have even incorporated our members in helping us select certain technologies and softwares along the way as well, giving them a feel of it and finding out from them how they feel about something. So I think if we make it a bit more personable and help them understand and guide them through the process, persons will be more willing to accept the change and use the technology for their benefit.
At the start of the program, one of the panelists was asking, so how long are we going for? Because it seemed as though we were going to be here for a long time. It's 10 o'clock. And we have a host of questions that we have not been able to entertain coming up on the Facebook page, and some people have been sending their questions in via WhatsApp. It therefore means that we may have to have part 2 of this discussion, and hopefully we can have a representative next time from the Grenville Credit Union as well as the Communal Credit Union. So we will have to wrap it up tonight. We have like 5 questions still outstanding. People want to know if you have a risk fund to cover situations like this. And Mr. Duncan, are you, the Bankers Association, lobbying the government on behalf of people who just feel the need to get services from inside of the bank because they don't have access to the ATMs?
Let us answer this question the way we started off the program. The primary concern of financial institutions, the primary concern of the member banks of the Grenada Bankers Association is the safety and well-being of the staff and customers. In fact, if we would have listened to the press conference hosted by the Prime Minister this evening, that point was underscored many times over. The inconveniences faced now by, in most cases, a minority, there's no justification, in the opinion of the Bankers Association, to put its staff at risk. I don't think that when we end, or when the curfew is ended, maybe in the next 8 to 10 days, that people would be vanquished. But if we get it wrong, it means that we'll be in for a longer haul than any one of us care to consider. We say we are helpful people. As I was saying to someone, if I don't have money in the village, I could turn to someone who has a cousin, brother, uncle, auntie, and then that could tide me over for a week or 2. That's how we live. That's how we help each other. So to insist that other people are at risk allow someone to make a withdrawal when there are alternatives, safer alternatives during this lockdown period is a bit, in my opinion, selfish. So let us keep the protocols, let us grind it out, right? Many services are being delivered to the majority of people, and we would be proud of ourselves at the end of it.
And we go to closing comments. Ms. Boyd, closing comments from you?
Thank you, Odette. Let me say again, thanks for having me on your program tonight. The credit union is a special organization, and I always like to say that. It is a special organization because it is people pooling their funds together for their common interest. So we all have an interest in the development and the success of this organization. So the staff as well as the membership all have a stake. That's the credit union family. And for the credit union to go forward, for the credit union to be successful, the staff and the members must also be successful. And I want to again just highlight our credit union family, the staff and membership. And one thing our members would say is that as a staff, we know all our members. We know them by name, we know their likes, we know their dislikes, because it's all of us pulling our funds together. And as a credit union, we will ride the storm with our members through thick or thin. We are all in this together. This is a family. And so if someone is slipping, we will give you a helping hand and we will help you rise above that storm. So don't be afraid to contact us so that we can assist you. Even if you are not sure what you may need per se specifically, even if you're not sure if you may get what you're asking for, reach out to us. We are there to help you. Through thick or thin, anytime, any hour. Over the weekend, we have been accessing our systems, working from home, doing transfers, answering queries. All of that has been happening. So we are there to help you, and we will continue to be there to help you through this crisis.
Blessed assurance, the credit union is ours. Mr. Williams, your closing thoughts.
Well, I want to close with just to expound on one of the offers or the process that we have put in place when I started. The Provident Fund. No one asked about it. I just want to let persons know that the Provident Fund was set up specifically for situations like this, but it's for persons who are really in need of assistance. So we are asking our members to look out there for their fellow members. Remember the philosophy, people helping people. The Provident Fund, there is a form online that can be accessed at www.arizacum.com. So members, we just need 2 persons to make a recommendation. So let's take, for instance, there is this nice senior persons in your community that needs, for instance, a hand sanitizer and are unable to purchase. 2 members can get the form endorsed, send it through the technology, and we can assure you that that senior person will get some assistance from Ariza. It is a grand fund system that was set up, and it's all under the spirit of people helping people. There is no better time than this. This situation is optimal for us to put back that spirit that we have as Grenadians for people helping people. Let's continue to work together. You are assured that the technology is used day in, day out, 24/7 by the management and staff of Ariza to ensure that our members are continually served.
Mr. Duncan, you represent all of the banks, and so your closing thoughts.
Yes, Odette, I just want to thank you for having us on the program and to reiterate to the listening public, the customers of the 4 commercial banks on island, that we stand ready to extend the moratorium that we have spoken about earlier on, the waiver of the late fees that is already instituted, and we are online, working remotely and keeping the system ticking over, doing our wires, doing our payroll, monitoring our ATMs, replenishing where necessary, and ensuring that the system continues to function, while at the same time ensuring the health and protection of our staff and customers during the lockdown.
Thank you very much. And we want to thank you very much for taking the time to speak to the Grenadian public. I am very certain that your words have given assurance. We have been having these questions fielded at us through social media and through the call-in programs, and thus we felt it imperative to let you share your perspectives with members of the public. So we want to thank you, our listeners and viewers as well, for having joined us for tonight's program. As we close, I would like to thank Mr. Richard Duncan. He's the president of Grenada Bankers Association, Mr. Tisha Smith-Boyd, general manager of the GUG Credit Union, and Mr. Javon Williams, the president of the board of directors of Ariza Credit Union. Hopefully we can continue this conversation and we can have a representative from Grenville Credit Union and the Communal Credit Union joining us. And to you, our listeners and viewers, we say a very special thank you. And on behalf of the entire team at the GBN, I'm Odette Campbell. I'd like to say a very special thanks to Renald Parks, Darius Slocum, Kellon Batiste, members of the News and Current Affairs Department, Ms. Janelle McDonald, and others who worked behind the scenes to ensure that we could have tonight's program. It does take a lot. And to those of you who are viewing us on social media, let me ask you kindly, please, try and be a little less mean. Try and be a little kind with your comments. I'm a tough cookie, so I can take almost anything, but sometimes it causes the staff's heart to break when we see some of the mean comments you throw about. Today, for instance, was grocery shopping day. Members of the team here could not go and get grocery because we were after the story so that we can keep you up to date and bring you information from the police, from the state. And we just ask you kindly, please, let's try and not be mean. Let's be kind to each other. So long for now. Have a great one. We'll see you again tomorrow.